Morphological optimization is the ideal body shape and size that correlates with success in sports and other fields. For some sports, morphological optimization is obtained by hitting the genetics lottery. Think of the long arms and heights of basketball and volleyball players to assist in blocks, defensive deflections, and spikes. The short arms of powerlifters, which decreases the distance they have to lift the weights. The petite height of a gymnast. The broad shoulders of a swimmer. The long strides of a sprinter. Each of these gives a natural advantage to the athlete in their sport, which has led to professional level athletics showcasing similar body types. In the case of genetic assistance and morphological optimization, it rarely causes danger to the athlete. However, once man-made advantages come into play, the athlete's health becomes a greater risk. Weight is a common issue faced by athletes. Athletes have fallen susceptible to unhealthy eating habits to gain an edge on their opponents, or to stay in the weight class of their choosing. The morphological optimization of a jockey is petite and skinny. Jockeys have especially experienced the demand to lose weight. According to a Bustle article, the Kentucky Derby has a weight restriction of 119 to 126 pounds, including the equipment worn by the jockeys. This leaves the riders at the average weight of a 14 to 15-year-old boy. The slim body types of jockeys leads to many dangerous side effects. Jockeys' unhealthy dieting leads to cardiovascular problems, dental issues, esophagitis, drug addiction, and in the most severe cases, even death. In 2005, jockey Manuel Jose Sanchez was found unconscious in the jockey's room at a race. He went into a coma and eventually died. Although the exact cause of death was never determined, Sanchez had shown signs of dehydration and was struggling with eating habits. There is truly a dark side to jockeying.
Is driving Seabiscuit, and Seabiscuit is outrunning him. Seabiscuit is coming to me. 1 length, 2 lengths in the lead, and he came right over 2 lengths. He goes by me. Seabiscuit by 2 lengths. War Admiral right on his heels. Cutsinger sitting still and biding his time.
The sport of horse racing is simple. The first horse to cross the finish line wins. Horse owners will hire jockeys to race their steeds around a track of usually 1.25 to 1.5 miles, and the thoroughbred horses fly around the track, reaching speeds of 35 to 40 kilometers per hour. Horse racing is one of the oldest sports, dating back to 700 BCE. In ancient Greece, contests consisted of riders on mounted horseback, as well as riders pulled by chariot. Between 740 BCE, horse racing is documented in the Olympics, as well as in stadiums for public enjoyment. About 1,000 years later, in medieval England, horse racing shifted. Many people began using horse races as a way to prove their horse's speed to potential buyers. But by the 1600s, horse racing was brought back to the entertainment stage. At this time, horse racing made it to America. During these races, horses were meant to be equipped with stamina over speed. The races would be miles long and held every fall and spring. After the Civil War, the sport changed, becoming what we know it as today, with racetracks becoming shorter, showcasing the faster horses. With the popularity of horse racing became the popularity of the job as a jockey. The top jockeys make 6 figures, with a large portion of their income coming from prize money for winning races. Jockeys realized that besides training, slimming down helped lead them to a win better than anything else would. Weighing less allows for the jockeys to better control their horse, as well as making them less of a burden to their steed. Because of the need to meet the weight requirements, jockeys usually weigh between 108 and 118 pounds, allowing the rest of the weight to be used on their equipment. There is no height requirement of the jockey, but the average range is 4'10" to 5'6". Therefore, the average jockey has a normal BMI. However, the means of how they get to the low weights and the eating disorders caused is where the issue lies. When weight cutting first became noticed in jockeying, the practice methods were horrific. A 1995 study showed 67% of jockeys used hot boxes to lose their weight. The boxes were small, metal, sauna-like containers that severely dehydrated the athletes. Many jockeys also utilized self-induced vomiting to become as slim as possible. The same 1995 study revealed 30% flipped, or forced themselves to puke, to meet the weight requirement. In many racing facilities, heaving bowls were built in the bathrooms for the jockeys. The heaving bowls were next to the toilets, but made primarily for jockeys to vomit into. After a 2004 HBO documentary revealed the heaving bowls in the Churchill Downs racetrack, where the high-class Kentucky Derby is held, many stadiums began to remove their heaving bowls, and new tracks didn't include the bowls. However, the removal is a recent movement, and some jockeys still utilize heaving bowls. Self-induced vomiting has appeared to decrease in jockeying, at least in Europe. A 2011 study found only 14% of their jockeys flip. Although this percentage might be decreasing, the practice is not completely retired. Additionally, saunas are still utilized, with their use soaring to 86%. While saunas are not as dangerous as the hot boxes, they still cause dehydration, and dehydration causes risks to the jockeys. According to a study done by Anna Louise McKinnon, medical advisor at the British Professional Jockeys Association, dehydrated athletes have slower reaction times. While riding a horse running at 40 km per hour, senses must be sharp and reaction time must be at its peak, which is clearly not the case for these riders. While jockeys see their method as a natural part of their sport, researchers recognize eating disorders in their behaviors. The Institute of Psychiatry in London ran studies on jockeys in Britain to reveal jockeys' diet. The researchers found nearly every jockey they studied showed signs of bulimia nervosa or anorexia nervosa. In the study report, scientists wrote, all jockeys reported that, in season, control of weight was paramount, taking precedence over most other concerns in their life. One jockey even reported fasting for 6 days to make weight. During their racing careers, jockeys became dangerously close to developing severe eating disorders. Not only are jockeys' eating habits affected, but they also experience psychological effects. Scientists identified 3 periods of weight during a jockey's career: rapid weight loss, optimal riding weight, and relaxed weight. Rapid weight loss occurs when the jockey is trying to lose weight as quickly and usually unhealthily as possible. Optimal riding weight is reaching their ideal competition weight without excessively restricting weight. Relaxed weight is achieved when the jockeys have no races to cut weight for. In a study comparing mood to weight loss periods, researchers found a direct correlation with most negative moods to rapid weight loss. Their eating attitudes were also severely decreased during rapid weight loss. Jockeys experience the effects of these weight loss methods long after retirement. 17% of retired jockeys deal with severe dental issues, likely due to constant flipping during their careers, similar to bulimia sufferers. 13% of jockeys saw excessive weight gain after retirement, and 50% reported retiring due to weight issues. Retired jockeys also reported psychological issues related to the malpractices, including low self-esteem and poor physical perceptions. Although their racing careers might be over, the effects from weight loss habits are far from gone. Eating disorders in jockeys are often ignored or unknown. Eating Disorder Hope wrote, "We don't know how many or what percentage of jockeys have an eating disorder, presumably due to the stigma associated with eating disorders and likely fear that confessing problems may lead to an end in their careers. While eating disorders among female athletes may be more prominent, men still experience unhealthy disorders after competing in aesthetic sports and sports in which the athlete must make weight. Likely, jockeys will continue to find dangerous and quick ways to lose weight, so there is no stopping the weight loss habits." But Antonia Bohm wrote on the treatments athletes with disorders can use to help heal. Bohm suggested psychoeducation and counseling. Coaches, trainers, and athletes are unaware of the dangers of eating disorders, and Bohm advises simply teaching the parties how to recognize and handle unhealthy habits.